Yeah, seems like he's been there a long time. And
Yeah, he was actually in technology.
yeah.
And then he was gonna be the assistant director he was gonna be the assistant director of music maintenance. And the guy that
Really? Soon?
I
We'll talk later.
I
I'll be-
never used
exactly.
very well, but I was
Yeah.
if Stan wanted to get something done, he got it done. If he didn't,
She worked with
like it's stay on the
like
board.
He didn't have a lot of ads. He did not have a lot of ads.
Well, no, he had a secretary that took care of it. Karen took care of it.
I'll give it a try. Try
Yeah.
She took care of
Call her.
Yeah, or if it's a little bit away.
it. So it was like,
We're running. It's like the same place.
It's the best place.
well, half the time she'd sign it. You feel like, go ahead.
Tracy, do you want the other projector on?
I don't know.
One more time.
That's what you get for saying.
That's why I didn't know it.
You looked at me like I never did.
Did Mike say something specific about the vehicle? I know there's some holes in the net.
Okay, it is 6:30, we'll go ahead and call the meeting to order. If you guys could join me in the pledge. I pledge
allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right. Right to item number 2, considerations of agenda additions or deletions. I believe we do have a deletion and a
I put a change because I didn't want to put deletion, because I didn't want to delete the whole beat.
understand.
And I also didn't want to do 6 lines for different people.
I'll entertain a motion for O and B.
So moved. Second.
I got a motion and a second. All in favor? Motion carries. Thank you. Number 3, invitations to members of the audience to speak to items on the agenda. Seeing none, move on to communications. We have none tonight. And right to reports, number 1.
Okay, I just wanted to give an update on school resource officer and preschool. School resource officer, I talked to Sheriff Parker today. Stephanie Mickham will be joining us as our new additional SRO, so we will have 2 SROs. He believes her start date will be the beginning of the school year with us, but he needed to get back to me on that. Preschool update, currently our preschool classes are full. We are still advertising to hire a 3rd teacher in order to open another class at Lima Brighton. We currently do not have any applicants for that position that are qualified. So a little Lakeland by the numbers. This is our enrollment as of May 15th. That obviously hasn't changed as we just rolled over the kids from Power School. So same numbers as last month. I was hoping to dig into the new numbers, but I couldn't get to them. Our current openings, we have some certified openings, the kindergarten teacher at LPS, an elementary school teacher, 5th grade at LIS. We have a special education teacher and a high ability teacher at LIS. Our classified staff, we are in need of a secretary registrar at LIS, a preschool para at Woket Mills. We have several paraprofessional openings in all buildings, it looks like. We are looking for an athletic secretary, and we are always looking for bus drivers. We did get our projected allocation for Title 4A, which is student support and academic achievement. So for this year, it is $39,463.81. And just to let you know a few of the things that Title 4A does for us, it helps with college and career readiness. You can read, I'll just let that go up there. I won't read the whole thing to you, but it does help with technology and training and professional development. Lots of good things. So, business slides. I think that's extra. Oh, no, this is for the business part of the meeting, sorry. That's my report. I forgot, why did I put business slides? That's why.
Excellent, thank you. Alright, Jamesy, treasurer's report?
Okay, so we did get our, as I reported last month, we got our tax settlement from the treasurer's office. So we have that now in the operations fund of, it was what, sorry, our month, on that. Oh, right, there we go. It was 3.4 million. Sorry, I lost my spot, I'm really sorry. Okay, it was 3.4 million. And then, so anyways, we are, it did bring us to 60.2% in the operations fund, so that was kind of on the higher side. And I think that's because the assessed values have kind of been going up and going up. So just kind of throw that out there for going into next year, where they're capping us on homestead properties at 0.85%. So I think we'll end up seeing a wash really in the operations side next year. So it's okay. So anyways, so we're at 51.74% in the education fund, 60.2% in operations and revenue collected, for a total of 56.7% for revenue collected. On the expenditure side, we're at 46% of our education fund spent and 48.1% of our revenue budget spent on those two, and overall 44.5%. So we're still, with being halfway through the year, we're under that 50%.
Yeah.
So we're doing really well with that. And we had our big bill for the special ed co-op come out this month. It was over $300,000. That was just for 6 months of the year, so that came out. So we did have some bigger expenditures too this month. But yeah, overall, we're doing really well.
Does anyone have any questions?
I guess with the, I mean, this might be for Heath or you, with buildings being open up this summer and big projects, have we had any new expenses with that were unexpected?
Most of the stuff with the projects going on has been within contingency allowances. We are at that at primary and past it a little bit, but the high school's still doing pretty good with contingency, so.
So we should say it, both buildings are on track, I believe, from our last meeting.
Yeah,
Yeah.
we've had a few little snafus that happen, but I honestly, they're doing a pretty good job.
Yeah.
I mean, you're always gonna have the little glitches, and nothing has been so major, you're like, oh my goodness, this is really gonna slow us down.
Yeah.
So,
I think they've been
Yeah.
in good shape though, I think overall,
Let's keep it
as
simple.
projects, so, yeah.
We had a lot at the beginning.
And our press box is, as you can see, is coming along too, so, yeah.
I seen they got it all tore apart today.
Yes.
It's gone.
what was it?
It's a press
Oh,
The
press
press box,
box.
yeah, so that was coming along too, so, yep. We're in good shape.
I thought they were gonna do it in Ryan's office, but.
Just shove it up there.
Bad idea.
Yeah, I'd say it might not be a bad idea.
Hey, we didn't say where we put it today.
No AC.
He's used to not having AC.
Hey, they're really good
Ventilation
at
might be
turning
better
on
than
the
my
AC.
office right
Super
now.
cold.
You've crossed this, that's when you go off course.
The transportation office is coming along nicely too.
Thank you.
The transportation bar is coming along nicely too, so,
Yeah,
yeah,
pretty close.
that's going well.
Let's bring them back.
Yeah. That, yeah, we'll do that. But yeah. Alright.
Thank you. I
Thank
appreciate it. If there's any further questions on the treasurer's report, we'll move on. I don't have anything to report on today. We'll just move right on to unfinished business, and that's item number 1. The seasonal athletic event supervisor. I think the board is, you know, does anybody have any questions before we entertain a motion? Alright, I would entertain a motion to approve this.
So moved.
Second.
You got a motion and a second. Any further discussion? All in favor? Motion carries. Alright, that's taken care of the unfinished business, new business. Number 1. Tiny mobile robots.
Jamesy, are you gonna talk about the tiny mobile robots?
I can talk about the tiny mobile robot. Okay, so the tiny mobile robot, it's everyone's favorite thing. Okay, so what it is it will paint the lines on our fields, and it will do them perfectly straight, and it will do them, it'll take up, or use up, what, half the paint?
Yeah,
Right? Half the paint.
Half to a third.
Yeah.
Yeah, half to a third in some cases, you're right, of the paint. It will free up 20 hours per week for our current grounds guy. We have one guy doing all of our grounds work here, so it'll give up, release him in his time, and things like that, so it'll give him opportunity to do a little bit more, and, yeah. I don't know what questions you have, or.
So it's spread out over the course of
Mhm.
4 years.
So we're gonna basically purchase the robot up front itself, so that'll be a chunk.
Yep.
But then, we'll pay the, it's the satellite fee and then any,
Software.
software upgrades and things like that are included in that annual, cost of $2,200, basically. So,
How much was the parts replacement that
Huh?
how much were the parts replacement, the wheels and
The wheels and stuff?
hoses? I heard they're
yeah,
pretty affordable, but I don't.
yeah, they are. So when he spoke to me the other day, 'cause I called him to like get clarification on some of that again. He said we could buy them from them and it would be like $50 for the hoses. Or they're available on Amazon, he said, same ones for like $25.
So
I
we
didn't
can
personally
do-
look those up myself.
We can do
but-
those, we don't have to send the robot to somebody.
Yeah.
Okay.
No.
Yeah, most of the maintenance on the robot's pretty straightforward
Yeah,
and simple.
it's-
They're not real complex except for actually what talks to it.
Yeah.
And so they did the demo here on site on purpose to make sure we had good
We
satellite
did it
signal here.
over, at LAS at the middle school soccer field. So if it's gonna work there, it's gonna work in any of our other fields. So-
We had a rather spirited discussion about the robot prior to the board meeting. It was okay, nobody got hurt. Can you give us a little bit more justification financially? So, I mean, I understand it, but those that are here are thinking,
That's a good chunk of money for, yeah. Really,
It's like another person. I mean, it really is. If you look at what schools, colleges are doing that are still painting athletic fields right now, just about everybody's going this way. This isn't new technology. Turf Tank came out, I want to say 10 or 12 years ago, and was introduced to me. My aging ground staff, which I had at MSD when I was there, we have here, which is typical for a ground staff. You're talking about guys with bad knees walking miles and miles and miles while this thing's taking care of it. I had 4 guys at MSD that did the work. We got 1.5 guys here that do the work. This is gonna save knees, this is gonna save hips, this is gonna save all kinds of things on these individuals. He fills it, he cleans it. We have exceptional, Mike Gray's an exceptional guy. He's an exceptional maintenance guy. I don't need him out there painting fields all the time. He can set this thing loose and I got things he can do. There's plenty of stuff for him to do while this thing's doing its job. So it's almost like having another employee added in this field and we don't have anybody walking behind this. You know, right now I think it took him 2 days to paint everything up for the football field. Well, if the grass is growing, how does he keep up with that? I had no idea when I got here how he kept up with everything, so.
Can you tell us how much money you saved in paint alone?
I can't, did we get the exact number on that? We did have that
I
figure.
did have that, I don't have it with me.
It was about 50%. I mean, this thing is not necessarily gonna pay for itself quickly in paint as what it does in labor and what the actual, we used, right before Turf Tank came out, we used like a golf cart painter at MSD. And that saved their knees, that saved a lot of walking. They were so appreciative. And then Turf Tank came out and they were like, oh, we need that. I just got you a golf cart. You can use that for a while. You know, a golf cart wasn't cheap, but Turf Tank is the other opportunity. That's the first one. And you can't buy those. You can only lease them. And they're
What,
I'll-
$60,000?
over $60,000 to lease one for 6 years and you don't own it. This thing we own, we can take care of. I'm confident that they will take good care of it and it'll last a long time and do what it's supposed to do.
who will be taking care of it?
Our groundskeeper
Yeah.
will be taking care of it.
It takes
Mike,
3 minutes.
right now.
One person, 2 persons?
2 people, one to 2 people. So, but mostly it'll be Mike.
Yeah.
So,
What, 3
I
minutes and water and
Yep.
donned your soap.
I would invite anybody to look at our current grounds equipment, which is all new, and you can see that it's very well maintained now.
I
We're on
have
top
that
of that, and I don't see that robot going by the wayside either, because our barn looks nice, so.
And this will be paid with his labor and his hours and everything he does. It basically would be paid for in 7 years.
So what will Mike be doing when he's not doing lines?
Mike does both. He's dual purpose. If I want Mike to go, we got a toilet running in the building, I know I can send Mike to do that. Mike can do just about anything. We have a very special person in Mike Gray where I can put him on anything, not just grounds. I can have him do anything maintenance, no matter what it is, he can do it. So there are multiple jobs. He never sits idle. That is not his nature, and this will be very much helpful to him and his niece. So,
And we'll cut back on his overtime too.
yeah,
overtime
cut
he
down
would
on
incur.
any overtime or anything like
He's
that.
gotta get those lines done no matter what, so.
Perhaps if they had robots 20 years ago to teach physical education.
It's not too far.
Yeah.
Maybe you wouldn't have had a new need.
Not only that, at the end of the day too, no human can paint a perfect line. This thing paints a
This
perfect
thing-
line. This is also aesthetically, it's gonna make us look better. I mean, at the end of the day, there are a lot of positives to this. It painted our soccer field over here at LIS. It put Santa Claus on our field just to show that it could do it.
Show it.
Little things like that you can just spruce and make. Hey, this is Lakeland. We got this unique thing. This is what we do. It's not unique. A lot of the bigger schools have them, but yeah.
And we use stencils. We use stencils for the numbers.
Yep, this will get rid
So
of
we
all our
won't have to
stencils.
replace
Yeah.
stencils every few years for
Yep.
$3,000
Gets rid of our
a piece,
stencils.
so
Yep.
it'll pay for itself
Yep.
and utilize Mike in different ways.
100%.
Okay. Entertain a motion on the tiny robot.
So moved.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Is there any further discussion? Seeing none, all in favor? Opposed? Did you get that? And motion carries. All right, we'll move on to item 2. This one's you.
This one's me.
COVID guidelines.
I know, everybody
haven't
gets
heard that in a
excited.
while.
I know. Well, little did I know that as one of the requirements for our ESSER grant, we are supposed to review our return to school guidelines in a board meeting every 6 months. I did not know that until they told me that just a few weeks ago. So here we are. We follow the K-12 school recommendations from the CDC. So these are the exact same return to school guidelines that we utilized last year because the information has not changed at this point.
Okay, I would entertain a motion to approve the 23-24 COVID guidelines.
So moved.
One second.
Got a motion and a second. All in favor? Motion carries. Number 3, the bus trade-in.
So I believe Melanie sent you guys all the quote from Perlins. That bus is 3 years old. But it is not practical for our school district. It's a pusher. Those buses are transit buses. They're made for inner city. They're made for Fort Wayne. They're made for Chicago. They're not made for LaGrange, Indiana on our red brick roads. There's some corners here in town that it can't turn on. It has been on a more rural route, and we're looking at it, if we do not trade it in, we're looking at all new shocks, new airbags, possibly new torque springs on the rear. It's just not made for the rural roads that we have around here. They are willing to give us $90,000 for that. Buses depreciate quite rapidly. So this for a 3-year-old bus is actually pretty amazing. And with that, with what the board has already approved for replacement of buses, we can get 2 buses and still put between $25,000 and $30,000 back into the fund. And that's replacing it with 2 brand new buses. So that would bring us current on where we're supposed to be. With getting rid of the 13 buses that are all past their prime that we have sitting out there. That would leave us 2 special accommodations buses and 8 spare buses. I do have 3 drivers that we're looking at hiring, but that would still give us plenty of spare buses. The maintenance on the buses that are older than 12 years old, and the maintenance on this specifically is going to save us quite a bit of money that can go back in to the general fund that we're gonna need. So I would ask that you approve this so that we can get rid of this bus before we have to put a ton of money into it, where we're still gonna get a really decent return.
What was the justification in purchasing that bus originally? Do you guys remember?
That was
David.
3 years ago, it was
Yeah.
David.
I don't remember if
I
it
don't
was
remember
a
the
let's try this or.
I think it was seats, but I don't.
How does it affect the routes?
How does
Because I
this
know
affect
that
the
one-
routes?
Yeah, cause I know that one's
So
supposed to
the
be 4.
buses that we will be bringing in will still be 81 passenger buses. That's what this bus is. It's an 81 passenger bus.
What's that?
We'll be replacing it with 81 passenger buses. They'll just be conventional buses. They've got heavier front and rear axles that we've got. What I have for the plan is the heavier springs, heavier front axles, heavier shocks. They can take the abuse of the rural country roads that we have around here.
And that one does a double route, right?
It does, but I am really close. I'm really close to finalizing routes where everybody's going to come in and everybody's going to go home. There will be no double routes.
So that one's like double, but that one's like, but that one, why I say that is because that one's getting the double wear and tear.
It is, but
Compared
it's
to-
not. So it has a town route,
Uh-huh.
which it doesn't fit down the red brick roads. It really doesn't. And then it's going up towards Howe, which there's not as much buggy traffic up there, but the roads are still, the rural roads are still in the same condition. So even if we would have it just on a town route here, it's not a practical choice because the driver is sitting in front of the front tires. The turning radius is really funky.
I have to ask this in honor of Carrie, is it an automatic?
All buses are automatics now. And all
I
buses,
knew that, but I just had to ask.
and we don't, they don't even have to open the doors anymore. To open the door, it's just a push button.
Oh,
So, on the
So
4th of
sad.
July, I sent all of the drivers a text and said you can lose up to 3 fingers, but you can't lose your whole hand and still drive bus. Just saying, you can be 3 fingers short and we're still good.
So I think we should approve this.
good to know.
Question on, so let's say this gets approved, what's the next steps? Like, you mentioned 2 new buses,
Correct.
we're trading this one in, when's it get picked up, how's it affect back to
So
school?
if you guys go ahead and approve this tonight, Curlin's will come and pick up the bus at the beginning of the week. We're looking at spring because everything that we're wanting, Curlin's orders on their stock buses. So we'll be getting those in 2024, in the spring of 2024. And then this winter, when we should be ordering 2 more buses, those buses actually won't even be available until 2025. So it's not going to take us off of our actual
Plan, yeah.
plan for buses. It's just gonna be replacing what we should be replacing. It's gonna keep us right on track. It's just gonna be more practical. The shocks alone for this bus are about $2,600 for all 4 of them. That doesn't include the airbags or the torque spring. So, and they're willing to take it as is. No questions asked, they'll come and pick it up and take it as is. We don't have to do any repairs.
I have rode on that bus and it is a smooth ride.
It ought to be.
And it looks very cool when we show up at another school. You look pretty awesome.
We
It's
got
a
to
nice
see it
looking
last
bus.
night.
She's gonna.
It was
I'm
pretty
gonna
awesome.
just say
We
that.
were very pretty
Well,
last
I'm
night.
gonna tell you what,
We were very pretty and we looked really awesome coming off of it.
I'll take it.
I'm going to miss it.
it's even more awesomeness is not a word, but for $90,000, I wanna make a motion, we approve this.
We just had to add our little.
I'll second that real quick.
She's got it.
Okay, apparently we have a motion and a second.
Brownie faces.
Is there any other discussion? Seriously? Okay. All in favor? Motion carries.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, the Frontline app tracker.
Application. We kind of discussed this a little bit before, we kind of mentioned about it. So Apple Track is used probably, I think, the last time I heard, about 82% of the school corporations in the state of Indiana. And what that means is that an applicant, a teacher, can apply in a minute or two. Our current one, they have to start from the beginning and do the whole application. This will make it very easier for teachers to apply quickly to our jobs. It's just gonna make a difference. Not only that, I don't know how many times I've heard from our principals, here's one, do you like the system we use right now?
I do not.
No one likes it. Everybody hates it. I hate it. It's just not a user-friendly and not easy to communicate. Visually, you can actually, on Apple Track, you can see the application, you can see all the notes on the side. So Jason can see that someone else interviewed this person for this job. Very, very simple.
Are we under contract with what we have now?
It will be ending, they're gonna delay bill, so they're putting this in place now. So we can get prepared for that 9/1 start, 9/1/8/1, I'm actually blanking
I was
on
thinking
that.
it was September.
9/1 start, Sam is working on getting the applications downloaded. So we're looking at that. So bill-wise, we'll be fine, but we'll still be prepped and ready to go.
What's the cost difference? Is it about the same?
It's about the same, it's actually a little cheaper. They gave us a big discount. I think to help along because we kind of delayed it for a year. Because of the fact we were gonna go last year with this, but we couldn't because of the contracts. And the contracts even are 2 different start dates, and no one responds to me why that is. I tried to call them 5 times. Emailed them, I don't know how many times, they will not communicate with me, other than to try to sell me more products.
So do you work with the tech department on this, or are you?
Not so much, we will be having to change links and certain things like that. And Frontline is who runs it. Frontline will actually communicate with Sam and work that out and get the requirements, and they'll give us all the information. They're real easy to work with. I've done a conversion before and also used them just outright, so,
This is for all staff, not just teachers.
everybody. But the thing is, when you have a teacher applying for 5 different schools or, all over the place, to do a few little buttons and apply, wow. To spend, I gotta spend 20 minutes doing this, I'll just move on. That's what I don't want, so this will help.
So is that the same, like, for references? I know in the old system, it was like, you get the weird, like, stuff that doesn't even apply if they put you down as a reference. Will that change some of that stuff?
The references used to go out automatically, I changed that. Frontline, I've never had a problem with Frontline and the references getting back. They're still done electronically.
Yeah.
But they don't usually end up in spam, that's the nice thing.
Okay,
Most of the ones we have end up in spam.
right.
We can choose, anybody can create whatever questions we want on the reference, we make it up, and I can change it, you can, Dr. Blaze can go in and change the question if she wants to, it's very, very simple. The ones we have right now, they're already there, so.
Okay. Thank you. I'd entertain a motion to approve.
So moved.
Motion?
Second.
3 seconds?
Good one.
Kara, on the end. Got a motion and a second, all in favor? Motion carries, thank you, good job. All right. Number 5, board policy.
Yeah, I don't have a slide for it.
Okay.
So the board has seen the cheat sheet with the board policies that I have gone through and that Kara and Jessica as the policy team for the board have been through. This will make us once again up to date with our board policy.
Man, that's amazing.
I don't remember the number this time, 50, you counted it.
I counted.
So in the course of the past year, I
I think it
think
was
we've
52, but I could be
done almost 200 policies together. up to date.
Two or more.
Until September, they'll come back with all the new ones based on the new legislation, so, but this will make us current for now.
Okay.
So moved.
Alright.
A motion and a second, is there anything noteworthy, committee members, on the policies? Okay, alright. We got a motion and a second, all in favor? Motion carries. Moving on to the consent agenda. I see we do have a few people here in the audience tonight. Do we have any introductions?
I'll jump in.
Thank you.
I'll introduce our new varsity girls basketball coach, James Benson, and his wife Hannah, here tonight too. So we're really happy to welcome them to Lakeland. Yeah, James comes really highly recommended from Central Noble and Garrett, where he's coached before. And just going through the interview process and getting to know him a little bit over the last week, two things that really stood out were attention to detail and energy. Just energy and passion. You can tell he's got a lot of love for basketball and coaching and teaching. So he's going to add a lot to Lakeland. So we're happy to have you here.
You know, add on that, as a sixth grade teacher, it is positivity, and I was really impressed, so I look forward to having him on the staff.
Excellent.
We down to you. I didn't want to jump over anybody if there's any more on there, but excited to have Joanne Gillespie changing over from school counselor into an assistant principal role. It was vacated by Andrew Moran, going back over to LIS pending approval. But very excited, Joanne, and working through her master's this year. Got all of her internship done and got all of her papers done and everything. So she's all legal. Excited to have her join the leadership team in that role. So it'd be great having somebody that's been in the building for a while too, since we consolidated, knows all the inner happenings. So it'll be great to be able to hit the ground running with her in that regard. She's got a lot of great ideas for some stuff too.
Pressure's on now.
Yeah, right.
What are you doing?
So very excited to get her to take that role, leaving obviously a pretty big hole in our junior high counseling department, but we'll get that filled somehow. And if not, I know the last counselor is still on call.
And in the building.
Yeah. So I'm pretty excited. Obviously, later in the summer to get somebody hired in that counseling position, but I know that we'll have a good resource in getting that person up to speed as well. So.
Excellent. Is that all we have then?
I think that's all that's here, but I did wanna mention that Alexis Grossman, a Lakeland grad, is returning to us as Director of Student and Staff Success. She's already been super involved. I think her first day that she came in, she was writing grants already, so she's really learning the ropes quick. Also, we are going to welcome back Gabrielle Larimer, a Lakeland grad, so we're excited to have her back at the intermediate school. Let's see. We do want to congratulate Don Brown on his retirement. He will be leaving us after 27 years with Lakeland. And let's see, I think those are all the ones that I really need to highlight.
Okay. Thank you. I'll entertain a motion to approve the consent agenda.
So moved.
Second.
A motion and a second. All in favor? Motion carries. Welcome. I have one other thing before we move to public comments. I think we have a small presentation from building trades, or who's back here?
Yes, my fault. That should have been part of the superintendent's report and I didn't do a slide for it, so I forgot.
Do I come forward or what do I
Yep,
do?
that's fine.
I'm not the most proficient with computers, so I was told to share my my slideshow with Tracy, and I did so just when I got in here, cause I didn't know what to do with it, so.
So I can find it then.
Alright, if you can find it, I appreciate it. It kinda helps out a little bit. So, I'll go ahead and, begin talking, because the slideshow is kind of, if you browse through those about, I guess, once every 3 seconds, 5 seconds or so. There's kind of a label of each one of those, there it is, yep. So, the house was, for Mark and this is for the 22-23 year. Mark and Jeanette Metz. Mark is a science teacher here at Lakeland High School. It's in Howe, the house is in Howe, and it was just south of the post office on 5th Street. We contracted out a lot of the larger parts, which is, I understand is the normal process. So pouring the footers here. There was a little bit of a delay at the beginning of the year due to some bank issues. It wasn't Mark's, or it wasn't any fault of the homeowner. It was just things that take time to work through. So there was about 6 weeks that we were stuck in a classroom. So students that don't want to be in a classroom, stuck in a classroom for 3.5 hours. It was pretty taxing, especially for it being my first year being thrown back into a classroom. So, but after that 6-week delay, we were able to move on, and the students learned quickly, framed the walls up. Sheathed them. We did all the normal things that the students would normally do on this, framing up the windows, doors, interior walls. We subcontracted, again, some of the more safety issue minded things, trusses. Nobody wants a 300-pound truss swinging down their head. So we hired that out with Shuttler Construction. They did some sheathing for us. But the students were involved with roofing and applying shingles. We ran the electric, worked on the house wrap here. We actually had Champion Homes from Topeka come in toward the end of the year to help us out and give us a good little push toward the end. This is one of the worker there on the right is from Topeka, Champion Homes. They brought in about 25 workers, volunteered their time. They were paid, but Champion Homes volunteered their time to come in and help us out, help Mark get out through this. So we had 22 students. We had one student that was from Westview. Due to a conflict between two students, she quit. The student from Westview quit partway through. That was unfortunate, but we see the HVAC, and that was contracted out. We did all the electric. That was a very taxing part, and I'm not going to do it all again. So we'll contract that out for next year. We will see the countertops and the finished cabinets here installed. And we were not able to finish the house in its totality due to late start and my first year. Just some things snowballed and caused some problems. So Mark was having to finish the home on his own. His wife is very sick. She's battling cancer for the 3rd time. And so we expedited them getting into the house and forwent, or how you would say that, the normal open house, just so they could get into the house because of the mobility issues. She doesn't have to wrestle with stairs here, where it's their apartment in Sturgis, she would have to wrestle with stairs. So we saw this as, hey, let's get them in the house. I asked him if he wanted an open house, but he said no, that it would just be better if they got into the house. They wanted to finish. So I'm excited for next year. They poured walls this year, poured the concrete, and not this year, this week. On Monday they poured the foundation walls. I'm meeting a plumber tomorrow morning to get the under concrete plumbing set. We have everything lined up a little bit ahead of time, so we're a little bit more in step this year. So I'm excited, a little bit of anxiety too, for a little bit larger house this year. It's for Seth and Brittany Cowley. Brittany Cowley is a teacher, language arts teacher, I believe, at the high school as well. So
That would be out by the golf course, right?
yeah, that's out by the golf course out on 50 North, down west on.
Thank you.
Thank you. Is there any questions, you guys? Alright. At this time, we'll move to public comments. Persons wishing to make the board aware of suggestions or ideas and or comments may address the board at this time. comments which involve personnel or students must be discussed in private. Okay, board member comments.
I neglected to say anything at the last board meeting, so I wanna make sure that I congratulate Sam and his department for their promotions.
Congratulations, yes. Thank you, Sue. No other comments, we'll move to the calendar review. As you can see, there's more on there than normal. So the board is meeting in executive session July 26th. We are meeting in executive session July 31st and August 1st. And the regular meeting will be August 9th. At this time, I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Motion and second, all in favor? Motion carries. Thanks for coming, everyone.
I saw that house where you were doing that. It's a great job.